Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Dr. Philip McMillan, President, Doctors Federation for the World, and this is part of our series looking at health-related issues that occur at different parts of the world. Doctors Federation for the World has always been taking a neutral position with regards to politics. We are interested in bringing science to the forefront. And as part of our discussion today, we have a really interesting panel. Of course, we have Dr. Shankara Chetty, who is the Vice President of Doctors Federation for the World, but we also have an Italian journalist and a doctor from the opposition party to talk to us about Italy and the politics that's occurring in Italy. So I say welcome to everybody today. It should be a really interesting conversation. And the main thing is that I am just as curious as many people across the world to hear about what is going on in Italy. Is this exciting? Is this worrying? What is happening? So I'll ask everybody to do a quick introduction. Truthfully, I'll start with Shankara, and then I'll do Maria Christina, and then I'll do Christina. So Shankara, do you mind doing a quick introduction for just in case somebody doesn't know you?
Hi, I'm Dr. Shankara Chetty. I'm a general practitioner and natural science biologist and the vice president at DFW. My focus has been on COVID over the last 2 years.
Excellent, excellent. And Dr. Maria Christina?
Hello, everyone. So I'm a doctor. My name is Maria Cristina, Gervasi. I'm a forensic doctor, and I am a doctor of the national public health in the security system here in Italy. And I am part of the side of the people that is in opposition of what happened in these last 2 years. Basically, considering a lot of other point of view about deal with this pandemic time. And for sure, we are really for us, it's really important to check every point of view and every scientific research about this hard time that we are passing through.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Christina?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Cristina Merlino, Italian journalist, director of the independent website treatgoodnews.it about health and wellness news. As a journalist specialized in the topics of prevention, nutrition, and the physical activity, I believe in fair information that always verifies sources and the facts, and in a science that serves a citizen that is independent and or not bound by economic and political convenience.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Really a pleasure to have both of you. As I said, the whole world has been fascinated by what's been happening politically in Italy. And so I am just as interested, I'm sure, as everyone else. So I'm going to probably start first with Christina to give us just an idea of the political landscape in Italy. And then I'll ask Dr. Maria Christina to talk about what was different between the perspectives of the different political viewpoints coming into this election. So Christina, go ahead.
Okay, so we have a very new government in this moment, because the political party that won in Italy is Fratelli d'Italia. The leader is Giorgia Meloni, that has decided to permanently cancel the compulsory vaccination and the Green Pass. This is only about the health. Doctors and the medical staff will thus be able to return to their work in public hospitals and nursing homes for the elderly. Doctors are banned from working and having it stipulated until the December, the final of December, the end of December, if they refuse the anti-COVID vaccination. And so all people want to see what's happened with the new government. And Giorgia Meloni wants to boost up the prevention and the healthy lifestyle habits to fight disease. So, and we are very, very, we wanted to see what's happened in the next weeks, because she has promised a lot of things about our health, because for a long time we are stopped at home with the vaccination obligatory, and for the green pass we couldn't go to work, we couldn't to live free. And so it's very strange, this situation, because the campaign of Giorgia Meloni was to cancel completely the green pass and the compulsory vaccinations. And for this reason, I think a lot of people want to have her in the new government. And so this what's happened in this moment in Italy. They say that is a very strong leader, but it's a promise a lot of things. We don't know what's happened, because in Italy we are skeptical of our politicians, because normally they promise a lot, so much, but they don't do little. They have done little or nothing.
Yeah. So this is a perfect time to bring in Maria Christina, because Maria, you are actually actively in politics. You were
Yes.
part of the opposition, and so you hear that about the political parties. What was your stance, or your party's stance, against Giorgia Meloni? Where was your party different?
But actually, it's long time that actually I'm active in a political world, because it's the second time that anyway I candidate myself for some kind of position in the government. And both the times I was the first time in the 5-star movement, and after I was in the Italexit. So are both parties that were not on the same side of Meloni. So it was the other side. And about the health sectors, with all concerning health and how they deal with the pandemic, we had for sure different point of view. And the party of Meloni, she was totally at the beginning supporting the green certificates, as well as the mandate for the vaccination. For this election, actually, she changed her mind, and she offered another point of view to the electors. And now she seems that she is going to keep strong in what she promised at the beginning of the campaign. So she just today or yesterday, she just told that in the future she will delay it. She will change totally what has been till now, and will be not more compulsory the vaccination for workers, health workers, as well as teachers, as well as people in the army, because this was the three big sector that has been totally involved in the mandates: the workers, health workers, teachers, and the security system. And that was really, really difficult for who believes for a long time in the power and in the dignity of government. because health worker, as teachers, our security system, as the 3 points where a nation has to put the strong resource, because to defend the state, or to defend the health, or to defend our culture and our tradition and our new generation, they really submit the free mind and the free choice, dealing with that hard decisions that has been taken by a government against the wills of the peoples.
Yeah.
So
It's fascinating, Shankara, when you hear these discussions, because Italy was quite strong in terms of its mandates and so on. Standing back, you're in South Africa. What do you make of this approach as a general perspective?
Well, Philip, I think a lot of governments are realizing that the mandates, the forcing of this agenda, has taken away some of their political strength. People have woken up, and so health issues have become political. And parties that seem to give back people their individual freedoms are doing better in elections because populations have realized. But then I think we got to realize politics is a fickle game, and people will promise you whatever they want. It's wait and see that it gets instituted. And like Christina said, all the promises are fulfilled.
Yeah, well,
Uh, Yeah, in South
that,
Africa we had mandates, but the government was very, very judicious in the way it instituted them. It left it to businesses to make the call. So businesses were left to institute mandates amongst the staff. Now that the mandates have been taken away, businesses have opened themselves up to a whole lot of litigation. So I guess the politics and health are intermingled, and so the health issues are going to play a big part in future politics.
And Christina, you have made the point about, yep, she had a perspective that was pro vaccine mandates and pro green pass. She's now changed her position. Would it surprise you that if we start to see, and it's quite possible, as I've always predicted, we're going to see a surge in cases coming into winter in the Northern Hemisphere. If we see that, will she hold her position or will she change it for political expediency? Any thoughts on that, Christina?
So we don't know now what's happened, but we can discover it in the next few weeks, because Meloni decide will be the new minister, health minister, prime minister about the health, and so we have a good idea what's happened in the future in Italy. If we have a good communication about health, the good communication, the good program about the health that we have for a long time, we have decided, we have following Dr. Federation for the World to propose the idea about the future of the health. It's very important that is a minister of health decide what is better for the people, to decide it's better, which is the treatments good for each person, because we are all different. Because in the old minister, health minister, is Felice to reduce, because it's this Minister Speranza. This is the man of the old government wanted to reduce the number of the death, and with his protocol that authorized family doctors not to make home visit, so as not to get sick, or not to advise the use of anti-inflammatories and immediate treatment to stop the virus. This was terrible for the last government. The people understand what's happened, and the Doctor Federation has all federation has proposed that they were a lot of the good treatments to cure the COVID. And I hope that the new government has finally understand that we have other arms to fight to fight the health of the citizen. And we hope that the next minister, health minister, understand what Doctor Federation for the World has proposed. All journalists, independent journalists, has proposed in 2 years. And like Cristina Gervasi, that is a doctor, is the opposite part of the government, but wants to say what's happened. How many we have a lot of the cures. We have a different information about the COVID. Why the whole government and in this moment the doctors that are in the government have to decide for the future, the best future, the good solution for the people.
So I understand that, Christina, and I want to ask Dr. Maria Christina about this as well, because you must understand what it's like from a political point of view. There are many priorities that have to be targeted and achieved, and oftentimes, even though the population may say they want freedom to choose, if you have large numbers of deaths, the political party will still be blamed. What is your take on some of those tough decisions that politicians have to make?
For sure, we have to study very well, actually, the exactly number of the people that got sick or they died for the COVID. We still have a problem with the statistic number, because at the beginning of the pandemic time, they made really a big confusion with the death. If people died with COVID or for COVID. And so this was at the beginning for the will of the government. They made by purpose, because at the moment they had to prove that the emergency was the reason to make some kind of laws to push people at the beginning only right as a recommendation, and after they get the mandate, exactly the mandate. So, and at the beginning was a favor of the wills of the government, but now is not more in the favor of the government. So now they are going to try to change the stories about the number of the deaths. And this also was important for the decision to get the vaccine, because actually they forced and they made a kind of manipulation of the mind that we had no other chance of to get out from this situation, that have a vaccine. And was not exactly like that, because we had a lot of therapies that we are just going on to use. A lot of doctors, they were using with a big success. And why it was important not to let know to the people that we had also a medical resource to face the situation of the pandemic, because it was important to push the vaccine. And the vaccine is legally accepted and authorized by the EMA only if there are no drugs, no therapy, official therapy, when the number of the deaths and number of the consequences of the COVID were so high that was the legal reason to make the vaccine legal, to push and to make the mandate for the vaccine. And actually, it was not like that, because now we know a lot of other things in these 2 years. We update our knowledge, and we have totally different point of view about the therapies and about the real efficacy of this vaccine, that this doesn't prevent infection, doesn't prevent the disease, doesn't prevent the consequences, doesn't prevent the death, and even more, at the third dose, the immunity system going down, because these are the result of the statistics. If you go to check very well of the statistics of Euromomo, you can see that after the third dose, the immunity system got totally down, and the statistics show that we have more and more infections in people that are vaccinated, related people that they didn't get the vaccine. So, and it's not a kind of decision that doctors that has different point of view says. No. These are data that come from statistics. European statistics, American statistics, British statistics. So we can see that it's evidence, it's not a point of view.
All right, so I'm going to put Shankara into an unusual position. So we know, Shankara, that your method with regards to treating COVID-19 and so on. I want to pull it away from that, because I want you to go into the mindset of when you think there is no other option. So let's, for instance, say Ebola. There's a start of an outbreak in Uganda. Ebola is coming. There is a vaccine. We don't have a treatment for it. How do you position that from a medical and political point of view? Because this is the reality, is that for many people, they don't accept that there are necessarily other options. So within that framework, how do you think?
Philip, I think it's in a pandemic or a crisis situation like we've had, whatever you have in your hand that can help with the problem is what you use. But you've got to constantly be well aware of new developments and things that would actually mitigate the situation a lot better without the side effects and without the controversies that go with the vaccination campaign. So as much as if vaccines were the only things that were available to us, we had to still do it cautiously, because we're dealing with something that's relatively new, and we had to be cautious with it. And while doing that, we had to keep our eye around us on anything else that came up that would actually be more effective and be able to take away from the side effects that are undocumented with vaccination, seeing that they're new technology. So I think where we dropped the ball here was that we pushed vaccination at the expense of other means of treating this pandemic. We should have, started with vaccination if the thought was that's all we had, but we should have kept looking around us for other more effective ways to deal with the pandemic, not suppressed other ways just to make sure that vaccination was globally mandated.
That's a very, very valid point. And so, Christina, I'm going to ask you a question from a journalistic point of view. A lot of that could not have happened without the support and the backing of the main media. What was it like in Italy? And where did you stand in the context of what should have been done?
So, unfortunately, these past 2 years, mainstream information has only generated fear and despair. This situation is continue to follow, because now the people the mainstream continue to say that the new government, the new leader is terrible, and we continue to the campaign of affair. I think that the information is it has been monolithic, I think, giving no room for contradiction and doubt, which are the basis of the journalist, as well as the scientific research. And I think that it's very important that the independent journalists and independent scientists and all persons continue to talk about the future of the health, because it's very important to protect ourselves, protect our our city, the citizen, all people, and to be free to decide what is better to our health is very important. I'm different from Christina and you, Maria Cristina, because each person wants to decide what is better. The information, the free information, I think that is very important. The rule of the Italian journalist and the European journalist, because now is very important to say the real situation, what's happened with the vaccination, no vaccination, because you can decide what do you want, but I would like to have a good information, serious information. I think that our rule is the good journalist is about this. I don't say that it's better political party respect another one, but I don't want to see what's happened now, because the information was terrible in these 2 years. It's terrible for us. I think I'm positive and would like believe in a new future where the best health and the best quality of information between the people and between doctors and patients.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Dr. Maria an important question. I'll have to ask her to unmute herself. But Dr. Maria, so I'm going to put you in the context of being in politics, in that your party, say for instance, you had won, you were part of the political party that was in power, that was instituting mandates. If you personally didn't agree with that, what do you do from the context of towing the party line? How does that work from a political point of view? Are you muted at the moment, Dr. Maria? You just have to click unmute on your mic. You're muted at the moment.
Non si sente?
Yeah,
it's
there
okay.
you go. Yeah,
it's okay. So if I understood the question is what I would do.
Yes, if you were in power, if your party was in power, they had made the decision that they were going to mandate and they were going to do the green card, but you may not personally agree with that. As a politician, do you have to keep that personal opinion to yourself?
For sure, yes, I would. And I know that our colleagues of mine, that they are in still on duty in the parliament, they kept their opinion, even if the party had a different opinion. They kept their position because they believe in what they support, basing their opinion on scientific research that recently, for sure, they gave us a lot of other information and conviction about critical opinion on the best way to face the pandemic, and the green card, the mandates. Now is easier. We can say that now is easier to make opposition. At the beginning it was difficult, because at the beginning really we had no idea for what we are going to face. And for instance, even if some person now they are critics on the mandate and the vaccination, maybe at the beginning they were in the favor, because anyway at the beginning the lack, the lack of the knowledge was important for the decision that has been taken. Now, as I told you, it's easier to face this, and now there are a lot of other chances, a lot of other solutions. Also, because we found out that the decision that has been taken from the government, they found their reason to for the decision taken, basing on some rules, European rules or European decision that were at the same time themselves were not supported by the European rules and the European laws to get the authorization free. And but only now we know that. So at the end, for this, it's more easier now to say no, because I have a lot of evidence that I can show to people that has a different opinion. I don't want to force them to absolutely believe in what I believe, because the same right that I ask for myself to defend my decision is the same that I have to show for the other person and the other decision. So this is the both the respect for who thinks about something, who thinks about another point of view. I cannot say that vaccine was totally wrong, because for sure at the beginning, when we really were in the strong moments of the pandemic time, for sure we had a part of the solution, because anyway this kind of vaccine, it's a drug that is antigen poietic. So force and give the instruction for your body to make antibodies. And we need antibodies in this moment. But now it's not more like that, because now we have a big immunity in all the population for the vaccine that we did, for the infection that anyway a lot of people had, that we don't need anymore a kind of drug like that to force our body to make this kind of antibodies. And at the moment it would be for sure more physiological to respect the body for the immunity that they did by themselves, because now it's not more pandemic, now it's endemic. It's like flu, and now every people has antibodies.
Okay, so I have to stand in the position now of the individuals who I know would be saying we still need the vaccines to get us out of the pandemic. And they would be arguing, and I was just recently looking at the paper, which said that without the vaccines, we would have lost an extra 20 million lives. Now, we can argue about the mathematics, but what is clear across the world is that certainly within high-risk cohorts, the vaccination has had an impact on severe COVID-19. How do we then take a position that puts it in a backseat when it has had an impact? Shankara, do you want to try and see if you can delineate? So remember, you have to take the position, not your personal position, but
Yeah.
just imagine your position, that you're seeing what is happening. You believe that everything is making a huge difference. How then do you put it in the backseat?
I think, Philip, the mistake we made from the start was to not start with the problem. Remember, the vaccine is only of benefit to those who are well. It has no benefit to someone that has COVID. And we ignored those that have COVID completely. So yes, the vaccine would have had an initial benefit. It was all that we had. But as new treatments have come to the fore, as we've realized that this is a disease that can be, or an illness that can be effectively treated, and we've realized the inefficiencies and the side effects of the vaccine, we have to redirect quickly. I think governments and the media have underestimated the intellect of the general population and have chosen to determine what we should and shouldn't hear. And that has stifled a lot of development, medical development, that could have influenced the pandemic in many ways. So the robust debates, the scientific opinion should have been allowed to be out there. We would have come to a quicker understanding of where we need to be in the pandemic. And we have now waited to see that the vaccines are ineffective, to see that there are safety issues, and only now are we starting to look at ways to treat it. So the vaccines have to historically understand their failures. And so moving forward to a new vaccination like the bivalent vaccine has to be done with more caution, with the historical understanding that the first one didn't do what it was expected to do. So I think that, yes, as much as the vaccine initially was something that we had to do, we did not allow the developments around the vaccine to actually come to the fore. A lot of early treatment was deliberately stifled. So I think the politics came into play and influenced our health strategy. That should never have been.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to put Christina Merlino on the spot with this question here now. And sometimes I have paralleled the discussion, and I'm helping the discussion, especially for people who are strongly pro-vaccine. And this is one of the things. We have this dichotomy where we have two camps almost, and there needs to be an answer in the middle. And so I was reflecting today on the discussion about masking, and that there are some people who are very much against masking. There's some people who are very much for masking. If we had decided, and I presume, I'm guessing, Christina, that you don't have a huge issue with a mask, how would you approach this as a journalist trying to encourage people to wear a mask if you thought that this was important? And I'm slightly stepping away from vaccination because it's a very similar kind of thinking that goes with it. Any thoughts with that?
Yeah, this is a big question, because in this moment we are in the freedom to use or not the mask. And one part of the doctor in this moment in Italy and the part of a journalist propose on the magazine to use the mask because they say that is a good thing to reduce the Omicron this moment. In this moment in Milano is full of influenza mixed with the Omicron and mixed with the normal annual here influenza, because this is in this moment we have all problem with the throat, with the problem with the fever, and the people is divided with one person used in a supermarket, another not. It's very strange. And in this moment, the magazine don't talk about the mask, because after the election day, they don't want to use the mask in this moment to divide the population that are used or not, because they do the same things with the vaccination. And a lot of family are divided with the person that are vaccinated and the person not vaccinated, and the fight between the mother and the father. And the mask will be the same things in this moment. Now we use only the mask in the hospital. Yesterday was in the hospital with my daughter, and so you can enter only with the mask. And we have a group of a doctor that say that the mask is not necessary to stop the virus. Another part. So in this moment we have a big confusion between the doctors, between the journalists, between the information, and the results that all people do what want to do, and so we have no strategies.
Yeah, no, so this is perfect for me to ask Dr. Maria now, because you will know from both a political point of view, in the sense that sometimes the government has to take a position. It may not necessarily be liked by everyone, but they have to take a position that is in benefit for the population. When you look at something like, say, masking, or if it was anything else, this is the problem that I'm saying, is that from a public health point of view, if they have made a decision, how then do you enforce it? You have to make a political stance. What are your thoughts?
It's not so easy to give a good answer, because it's totally right what you say, because anyway, for a government, they have to take some strategy to save and to protect everyone. People that are strong, people that are not so strong, young people, old people, very old people. So, and in some situations, for sure, using the mask is necessary. And we know that using the mask, you have for sure the result. It's normal. No surgery would start operation without the mask. So as a reason, the mask, but there are at the same time they forced to use the mask in situation where was not necessary. For instance, in the school, using the mask in the school was really a big mistake, because even if they say that was not a risk, it was not dangerous for kids, actually we cannot say that, because we know exactly that also for a surgery, when they use a mask for 8 hours during operation, sometimes they have dizzy, they have to stop because the concentration of the carbonic it's higher, and they can have a kind of weakness. And also for the kids was the same things. There are research that they prove that using the mask you can breathe less oxygen. You can do for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, maybe for 1 day, but you cannot do for every single day of the year for 8 hours for kids that were in the school. They forced to use the mask also in the free park. It was really against the reason of a normal person. So they really exceed in giving some kind of rules where too much. Sometimes was too much, was really too much. So, but I can also understand if a person that they know that they have some kind of disease, they want to protect themselves and they keep more safe. They feel them more safe in keeping the mask, and I respect them, because anyway, if they want, it's okay. For instance, we can see in our public transportation in a big city like Milano or Rome, in the metro, we could see that we had less transmission of virus or bacteria, or we had less normal winter disease, and so we had a kind of advantage. maybe was not what we really expect, but we had. I remember a long time ago, it's happened also to me one day that I was visit a person about a forensic case, and I asked them, oh, okay, he had at that time, was a long time ago, he had that TBC, and I asked him, oh my God, how could you get in my office? How you arrived till here? Oh, doctor, it's not a problem. I took the metro. And I was totally shocked because he had a TBC, an open TBC, and he could get the bacteria to everyone in the metro. So there are for sure situations where using the mask as a reason to be. But at the moment, I think that they have to reduce this strong policy about the mask, is as the same as well the vaccines, for instance. But they are going to.
I can see as we're coming towards the close here, this is fascinating to hear the perspectives, but I can see at the moment, Shankara, one of the biggest issues we're going to face is if we have a transition in the pandemic, as I suspect will happen, and it requires a collaborative action by the population, we're not going to be able to do it. How do we get around that?
I think, Philip, the distrust from the population itself has come from the nonsensical nature of what's happened so far. Just on the topic of masks, we understand the risks, we understand the benefits, we understand the limitations, and we have enough science to have given good advice to wear it in enclosed areas where there are a number of people. I still see people driving solitary in a car wearing a mask. I can't understand that. And then you've got to look at the country itself. Here in South Africa, we have multi-drug resistant TB patients walking around off medication. Yet I'm forced to wear a mask when I walk on the beach. So it just doesn't make sense. So in the future, I think we can't discount the population's ability to understand what we're trying to achieve. So we don't have to just broadly say you're going to have to wear a mask every time you leave the house. People are able to understand that in certain situations, to protect yourself and the others, you're going to have to wear a mask. And so, yes, we can advise on that, and we can implement those things, but not just to assume that the population needs to be coerced or mandated into wearing a mask because they won't understand the benefit of it. So in future, I think robust debate, understanding, giving the population around us all the facts will allow them to actually take part in the decisions that we make, not just forcing it or enforcing it on them. And that's where the problem comes. People like to have their choice, their free will. And the only way to get them to act upon that free will is the understanding of what we're trying to achieve, not force it upon them. So even if it makes good sense, you force it upon someone, there's going to be some resistance.
Quite right. So starting with Christina Merlino, when you look towards the future with regards to Italy and the politics that is coming out from your new prime minister, both from a health and generally, where do you think this is going? I'm going to ask Dr. Maria Christina the same question as well. You're muted at the moment, Christina.
So I am no, this is my surname is Merlino. And so I don't have a vision of the future, but I can say that only that I would like that the Giorgia Meloni will do what as what she's promised a lot of things about the health to and so I would like to wait what's happened in the next 2 or 3 weeks, because they are very important for the alliance that we'll do with the other part of the coalition to do a new rules about the public health, because it's very important, because in the last 10 years the public health was reduced, the power. They have give a lot of money from the private hospital and not the public hospital. So I would like to see a better future compared with what we have seen in these 2 years, because was very it's the worst. It's the worst for the during the pandemic and the rest. I would like to see a good future, and but I think that the government has understand what's happened in the last 2 years for the poor people, for the family, the health of the family, because we have no a doctor to go in the at home to visit directly the patients, because we in this moment we have only one doctor for 1,500 people. It's too much people that has only one public doctor.
Yes,
I think, and the new government wants to do to give some instruments, scientific instruments at the doctor, and reduce the number of the people for each doctor. I don't know is real or not. I'm positive. I would like that in the future will be better compared to the last 2 years.
Wonderful. And Dr. Maria Christina, even as the opposition, what are your hopes for this new Italian government?
Oh, I'm in the same wavelength of Christina, because for sure we can see now that wind is changed, and since the first declaration that some parliaments are telling to the population, we can see that for sure a lot of things are going to change. Also because they now are in the lucky position, because they can take advantage from the experience. And maybe if the Giorgia Meloni would have been at the power 2 years ago, maybe she could have done the same mistakes that also the other parties and the other politicals they did. Now she for sure she will take advantage from the mistakes done in these 2 years, and she will take advantage from the last research that we are going to have in the scientific field, and she will take care of that. I trust her, because anyway I know also some colleagues that they work with her, and they also during in these 2 years, they when in the parliament some important decision has been taken, they didn't vote for this decision against against the freedom of the people. So for sure a lot of things will change. Doctors are going to be free also from vaccine, and this would be also because in these 2 years we had a lot of statements taken by the court that gave a reason to the workers. And so in front of a lot of decisions taken by the court that the mandate was a mistake, because you cannot take you cannot force a person with the thread of the work of the main sustain of the family to accept a therapy that they don't accept. And a lot of courts, they already take a decision that was a mistake. And so basing of all the statements already taken in Italy, they are not going for sure to take other decision against the decision of the court. Will be impossible. So they have to make teasers. They take advantage from all what we have, all what they have now, and start a new strategy to face the future.
Excellent. And Shankara, any final thoughts?
Yes, Philip, we've learned a lot from the mistakes of the past, and any new political party coming into power, I think, has to be cognizant of the individual rights of people, be open to more robust debate, be open to changing course when new information comes to the fore. And I think this will endear them more to the electorate. So with healthcare going forward, I think that politics needs to know its place, stay in its lane, uh, get the relevant information from the scientists and doctors around, and be open to having all sides of the debate aired. And that will allow for better decision making. So I think a politician shouldn't be held to their view. They should be allowed, in, as far as healthcare goes, which is a changing, shifting target, to change their views as new information comes to the fore. They will
Excellent.
be thought of as irresponsible if they take decisions and refuse to change it when there's new information out there. Then a side has to be taken.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yes, thank you all very much. It's been a tremendous pleasure to have you. I appreciate Christina Merlino getting Dr. Maria Cristina Gervasi with us so that we can get a broad view of the discussion and to have a better understanding of what was happening in Italy. So tremendous. Thank you very much for being here with us. And thank you again, Dr. Shankara Chetty, for your wise words of in every situation. So I'll ask you all to hold on here for a minute as I say goodbye to the audience. And look out for Doctors Federation for the World Conference coming up 11th to 15th of November. We will continue to talk with people across the world and bring the best ideas and concepts in front of you. Have a great evening to you all.